Okay, so December 23rd of 2024, I'm back into my 2013 videos. That was the year that Andre was illegally apprehended. As well as I'm doing this, I'm listening to the videos, right? I'm going down that memory lane. And in this one, I mentioned about Shyty going to the hospital after coming into seizures, starting to experience seizures, and passing out because of what the social workers were doing to my family. Like my kids, right? Tisha, who was 14 and a bit. Shyty was 17. Right? Sierra, by this time, in this video, was picking at her scalp and just completely gone with whatever those social workers did. Anyway, Shyty, it triggers my memory. She did. She passed out. She also passed out working at McDonald's. Because she was working too, right? She was going to school, and she was working part-time at McDonald's, because I remember her passing out at McDonald's too. Now, anyway, she went to the hospital, but I think in this situation, I don't think it was while working at McDonald's. I think it was a different time. But anyway, she went to the hospital, and when Shyty was murdered, right? And I finally had a so-called police officer investigate her death. He came back after going through her hospital medical records and threw a piece of paper at me and said she committed suicide because she was depressed, because it shows right here when she was 17 years old, right? That she was suicidal. So therefore she must have killed herself when she was 22. Yeah, basically, because she remained depressed that whole time. Well, why was she depressed in the first place, people? Because of what social services did in 2013. Okay? So we're just going to listen to this for a minute, because we've got Tamika Johnson-Dixon with her stupid videos, you know, saying otherwise, agreeing with the dirty cops, because just like they covered up murder with Julian, they covered up murder for her. So of course she's going to side with them. She doesn't want to get caught for what she did with the premeditated murder of my daughter in regards to lacing cigarettes with medical fentanyl, so Julian could sneak back in a few days later and really finish the job with a hot shot of cocaine and morphine to make it look like she was doing drugs, when in fact she was looking after the baby all night long, and made the mistake of allowing Julian to come into the house and hide out at 6:30 in the morning because he couldn't go back to his mommy's house because his mommy's house got robbed because of him. But that was just the excuse. It was just to come by and knock her on the head. I can prove that she has a bruise on her head, people. And because she was already out of it with the medical fentanyl in her system, he fucking shot her up with a speedball. Or whatever the hell they call it. As he was molesting her dead body. And the cops, they don't care because they got what they wanted. They got to illegally harvest her and get the kickbacks on that. Yeah. So of course Julian Johnson's sister is going to stand with the cops and agree that it was good investigation practices to go into medical files, pull out something from 2017 without following up as to why she was even depressed in the first fucking place at age 17.
So I gotta scrounge around for some pop bottles or something. I pawned off my rings today. You know, bought some groceries. You know, racking up my credit card and put gas in the car. So now I'm gonna have to drive back to the courthouse again tomorrow. And that's another $8 in gas, $5 in gas. Put an application in for party of proceedings of party or whatever it's called. Drive back home, trying to hunt down my daughter, you know, try and catch her when she's cognitive.
That would be Sierra.
Boyfriend when he's cognitive, you know.
That would be Austin.
To agree or whatever it is, then go back to the court and do an affidavit, and then have to go get an reply, and you know, come back, chase everybody around again, right? Do another affidavit, and then wait for a judge to see me in 6-7 weeks from now to tell me what the decision is. So this is not looking good. I'm being played for a fool. You know, people are purposely going out of their way to mislead me.
People are purposely going out of their way to cover up murder.
I'm receiving way too much information that none of it really makes any sense. I'm frightened. My kids are frightened. We're all depressed. My 17-year-old.
Are you listening? My 17-year-old. This is me talking about Chamay.
Is starting to show signs of seizures and panic attacks. She was in the hospital for 7 hours having, you know, heart monitoring and all kinds of stuff to find out why she passed out and was...
Why she passed out? Because of what social services did to my family when they illegally apprehended Andre for profit?
Starting to seize up, seizure. And my 15-year-old is...
And that's what the cop used as an excuse to cover up murder, people. Okay? Okay, so it is now December 22nd of 2024. Can you see what I'm doing here? Now what that is an egg that Andre fried up last night for Amari. Although I think I prefer more of a poached type egg because, you know, when you're frying something, it gets a little crispy. You grind it up, and not grinding up the way I'd like it, because I know Amari, if it's a little gritty, it will make him gag, and so preferably poached egg, softly cooked egg. Yeah, if you're gonna fry it, you don't want to crisp it, you just want it nicely cooked, and of course you still have to blend it. So anyway, I took the egg, I took the bone broth, okay? Do you see the bone broth? Now, when I open up a jar, people, okay, because it was canned, I had to put it in a pot, bring it to a boil, right? And then, you know, turn down the heat and just have it boil like that for about 10 minutes. That's the golden rule anytime when you're doing home canning. Now, yesterday I gave him, as a starter for food, sweet potato, and what I'm doing, I like it, you know, right? I'm working on it, okay? So that's the sweet potato that I ground it up yesterday, boiled, and then grounded it up, and then he had that with bone broth, and at first I started off with 2 tablespoons of the sweet potato. Sweet potato, this is actually more of a yellow-orange, so it'd be more of a yam. Either or, yam, sweet potatoes, they're easier to digest than an actual potato, right? And they have a lot of nutrients in them. You can eat them raw as well, right? And there's different benefits between eating it raw compared to eating it cooked. Or either or, I'm cooking it for Amari at this point, right? And then I just mixed it in with the bone broth. Oh boy, he loved it. He just gobbled it right back up. Because this bone broth, I'm telling you, this one here, that's the one with the whole chicken, right? And it's so good. All right. So I went and I gave him another batch, and he ate it. So now he's had his medicine. He hasn't drooled it out. He hasn't puked it out. He had a little bit of Pediasure. Or Pedialyte. Sorry, Pedialyte. It's that fruit drink with electrolytes in it, right? And now he's going to get his food. As it's cooking, and I don't see as much as I would like to see, but just by the way the food is responding, I can see that the liquid is evaporating. Okay? But I just want to heat it up. The egg was just in a bowl in the fridge. I didn't like that. I told Andre I'm going to leave some of those little containers out on the counter where it's easy for him to, if he does something like that, he can put it into a container like this, only smaller with the lid, and then this way. Plus, my fridge is freezing things as well because, you know, whatever that guy did when he fixed it, he kind of ruined it. But besides that point, it still works. It's freezing things if you're not careful with it, depending on where you put stuff. Okay, now do you see how that chunked up? Well, I guess I can leave that there. So I'm going to give him some bone broth more because he really likes it. He really does. Right? Just to, now, like I said, I've already pre-boiled the bone broth because it's homemade bone broth. So I don't have to worry about boiling it for 10 minutes as I'm doing this because it's already been done and then put into a clean jar after the fact. Right? Now I opened this up yesterday and you can see how fast I'm going through it. Okay? So it looks like I might be going through one of these jars every 2 days. Honestly, I want to give it to him every day. I don't care if it's chicken, beef, pork at this point, but definitely chicken. So when I get caught up with things and stuff, we'll be making more bone broth for sure. Yeah, definitely chicken because it's the easiest to digest, and it's really tasty if you do the whole bird. Now, right? Do you see the texture? Oh my wandering eye. He really likes it. Now, in terms of 5 to 7 small meals a day compared to 3 larger meals, maybe with 2 snacks, I don't know. I'm reading, people. I'm reading. Here, just for a second. I'm a bag of nerves today. I'm like so jittery with this whole situation. With just laundry and just, you know, I'm in fucking like this. Anyway, my eyes play a big role on it too, right? Because it's just so much harder to do things. So much harder to do things. You know, there's studies, but they're not definite studies as to what's better. 3 large meals a day to get, we'll say, 2,000 calories as an adult, or 5 to 7 small meals a day, even up to 10 small meals a day to get those same 2,000 calories, we'll just say, as an adult. There's no definite answer on that. Outside of, you know, people with digestive problems is something to really factor in, you know, and for Amari, that's right at the top of the list. So whatever's in there is being absorbed, is absorbing this. So I'm going to add a bit more in there. like between the egg and the sweet potato, it's absorbing the bone broth. Where the bone broth is important is I don't know if his collagen will ever be replaced. I don't know. Usually you have a certain amount of collagen, and once you lose it, you lose it. But that, you don't normally start losing it until you're in your 30s. 30s or 40s or something like that. He's lost so much because of those drinks, people. There is no collagen in supplemental drinks because they're plant-based. This is animal collagen, completely different. So he's definitely getting a good dose of that. Will it make a difference for him? I don't know. There's not a lot of calories per se in bone broth, as there are minerals and vitamins and collagen. Not a lot of fat because it's been defatted, right? Because we're going to cut back on fats and give him just a certain amount of fat in a certain kind of way. Because it could be fat absorption. That's the problem here. I don't know. When it comes to putting on weight, that is. I mean, I think we're dealing with a lot of different factors here. Okay? It's perfect. So tonight, we'll use up most of this, if not all of it, depending on what I give him tonight. Which, the chicken didn't come. Oh my God. Hold on a minute. Okay, so now we're going to feed him. He makes these sounds. Did you hear how long that was? Andre, he does other sounds too, right? Yeah. Andre asked, how can he do that? How can he make those sounds for such a long period? Right? Sometimes when he's playing, you know, he goes out of his way to what do you call it? Make sounds because he's playing, right? And he'll just go on and on and on and on. It won't breathe nothing, and I'm like, holy crap! How is that even possible for a little poop like you, right? Okay.
He's back to his normal, happy little self. You let me get... Oh, you still kind of smell sick, though. I know that smell. I do. I know that smell.
Okay. So, you seen what I'm giving him. Now, through my reading, because he doesn't chew, right? Per se. He chews his nipples, but he won't chew food. Don't bite your hand. He's been biting his hands lately when he gets mad. Okay? Because he doesn't chew, his saliva glands don't kick in. And in order to digest food, you kind of have to start chewing. And you need to do that to get the saliva glands going, so that as the food is going down the throat into the esophagus, into the esophagus, it helps with the digestion within the stomach. I told Andre, we're going to learn about biology here, right? In terms of how the food travels through the various parts of the digestive system and how long it can take, which can take a long time, depending on what it is. And every part plays a different role. So within a year, Andre's going to be an expert when it comes to understanding how the digestive tract works. So anyway, what we want to do is get him looking at the food, maybe smelling the food, so that his mind triggers his saliva glands to start reacting before it even goes in his mouth. Just like if you think of something and you think about it and you start saliving as you're thinking about it. So it's possible. You don't have to chew. Sometimes you just have to think about it or look at it, and that's why fast food. Look at that. Yeah, are your saliva glands? You had your mouth open. You had your mouth. I want you to smell it first. I want you to smell it first. I want his saliva glands starting to secrete saliva. Yeah, are you ready? Yeah, are they secreting saliva? Because we want it going. And he's he got his mouth. Well, Nana, my mouth is open. Yeah, there you go. Just take a bite, just a little bite to start. See if you like it, right? Put just a little bit in, right? Give him a chance to taste it. Give him a chance for those saliva glands to start secreting saliva, right? You know, let his brain connect with the food and see, you know, right? You ready? You want a bit more? Yeah. Yeah, it's good, eh? Versus just taking the food and stuffing it in his mouth. You need to give it time to activate, because that is so important. You need those juices. You need those juices from those glands that are in your mouth, in your stomach, as it's going down with the food, in order to activate the stomach and help the stomach to start the digestion process, okay? Seriously, most people don't know that. They don't think about it. They don't have no need to. Because everything's so automatic for the, you know, the average person. Whereas with Amari, you have to prep him. And activating his saliva glands to start, and sometimes he does it for himself. He'll take a bite and he won't swallow it. He'll just savor it. And he'll hold it in his mouth for a minute or whatever it is. Don't bite your hands. That's a new thing he's doing now. When he's real mad, he goes to bite his hands. He tried to bite my hand yesterday. Oh my God. So, you know, whether he does it unconsciously, in terms of you like it, you can tell by the sound of the way he talks. More. Andre said he's more verbal with me than he is with him. When Andre feeds him, he's actually more polite. With me, he's more robust, more verbal, more chatty. If I start getting goofy with him, because he'll get goofy back with me, and then he starts acting silly, and then I have to tell him stop it, you know, show manners. He'll blow bubbles. Yeah, you ready? Now I can give you a bit more. Right? So, you know, his saliva glands have been activated. Okay? Give him a little more extra time in between bites, just so that the saliva glands continue to secrete the saliva, because, you know, we're trying to bring back that gut health. Okay? Right? Now, there's not a lot of calories in this, but there's a lot of nutrients in it. Okay? And I am basically kind of writing down what I'm giving him. Not so much, I'm not putting down the grammage or the weight per se, as I am like 2 tablespoons of like sweet potato, you know, 1 egg, and some bone broth, right? Right now, you know, he's still getting over that stomach virus. Bacteria, well, it's not even a virus, it's a bacteria, right? He's still getting over that, so we don't want to overwork his gut. So I'm only going to give him the 1 serving for now, because he has his medicine inside of him, and I want him to completely absorb that medicine. And I'm on pins and needles, afraid if I give him too much, he'll upchuck, and then out comes the medicine, and then it might become a problem. So, versus instigating it to happen, I'm just satisfying his hunger, giving him quality food that's easy to digest, as I'm planning his next meal, which will be, I'm pretty sure I have pieces of chicken in my upper top freezer. Stop it. You're gonna hurt yourself. Stop biting your fingers. I made chicken McNuggets for the kids and stuff. And I think I even have maybe little turkey pieces in there. I just don't know where they are. I have to find it. And so once I find them, because the Walmart didn't have the chicken yesterday, so we don't got the chicken. But I've got spare ribs in the freezer that I might take out and still make that meal for later with the barbecue sauce and whatever. But for now, I'm pretty sure I can find turkey or chicken chunks in the freezer, which his next meal, which I'm going to more than likely make it a bigger meal, because the information, and this is the reason why I'm putting this video, I'm doing this video, because I'm reading so much, frying out my eyes, trying to get a handle on, should I give him smaller meals? Should I give him larger meals? Like, right? You know what I mean? Should I give him this? Should I give him that? How much do I give? Maybe I should be removing things. Maybe I should be adding. I don't know. All I know is what I'm doing, I feel pretty good about it. Because it's good food, for one. For the most part, it's easy to digest. He likes it. And I can build on it. So the next meal, I'm thinking, go in the freezer, go look for some chicken or turkey, something. Right? Because I want to give him that every day. Some kind of meat. Right now, because his tummy's upset, we're just going to focus either with turkey or chicken. I'm not going to worry about beef. I'm not going to worry about fish. I'm not going to worry about pork. I'm just going to stick with the turkey. No. The turkey and the chicken. Bone broth every day. I don't care what bone broth. I have a fair amount of bone broth. Chicken, I'm just going to use chicken for about a week anyway. And it looks like I'm going to go through a jar of chicken bone broth, I'd say, in a 24-hour period. Yeah, because it's not going to hurt him. You see, that's the thing. If anything, it's going to benefit him. The more I can get it in him, the better. Before, I tried to put it in a bottle and give it to him that way, but he won't take it. And, I wasn't under, I don't want to say dilemma, where I am like with the dilemma right now. Not that it's a dilemma, but it's a dilemma, to one degree or another. It's always a dilemma to one degree or another with Amari. You got to have that heart of steel. Don't forget that, right? I think bone broth is at the very top of the list when it comes to one of those daily staples, even if it means 500 milliliters or 1 pint every 24 hours. Just to stabilize his metabolism. Because that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to not only stimulate his metabolism by getting his saliva glands activating so they can activate his stomach juices, but I'm also trying to stabilize his digestive tract. with foods that are easy to digest and are very beneficial. And bone broth just happens to be one of them. And only certain things build muscle, and he has no muscle, people, right? And what little body mass he had, he's losing it in terms of, just, right? Because he's so active. Like, you can see him, he's moving around. That's what he does. And we don't prevent him from doing it. Right? But because he moves around so much, he burns off so much freaking energy, his body doesn't retain body weight. So, there's only so many places you can get those calories to put on the pounds, but it's not working. So anyway, chicken or turkey, at least for now, every day for a couple weeks, even if I have to buy more chicken. If I don't have enough in my freezer right now that's handy and close by. We know he's getting a pint of bone broth within a 24-hour or so period every day. Sweet potatoes or yams are perfect for him. Better than potatoes right now because they're a little constipating. Potatoes are constipating. Like, they're harder. It's not that they're constipating. They're harder to digest. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to stimulate his digestive system as a whole from the first time before it even goes in the mouth with, like I said, activating those saliva glands to, there's four different processes: mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, which leads into the larger intestine, which leads into other parts that feed the liver and the freaking kidneys. And the kidneys, the liver kicks in and it takes food and nutrients from that and feeds the other parts of the body. The kidney sucks in there and takes out what it wants, and as it's being digested through all these processes, right? And feeds the body, and then at the very end of it, it's flushed out through the last stage within the colon. Oh. And that can take anywhere, depending on what you're eating, that can take anywhere from 2 to 6, but you're talking straight up sugars, like white sugars and candy and that kind of shit. It travels through the system real fast, right? Because there's nothing there to draw on in terms of nutritional calories. Those are called empty calories. Up to 134 hours. 134 hours, that's like 5.5 days or something like that, by the time you put something in your mouth until it comes out at the other end, assuming that it will come out on the other end if you don't get constipated. Amari wouldn't poo for like 3-4 weeks. Okay, don't tell me if you had a child that didn't poo for 3-4 weeks that you wouldn't get upset about it. Because you would. You take him to the hospital in a situation like that, and they'll say, oh yeah, lots of parents come in and have that problem, and and Amari's not the first one, but when it's all the time, it becomes a problem because they can you burped. The intestines can explode and you'll die, right? If they give him a liquid Emina, and I think this is why Amari went into seizure mode. I do, people, I do. Another reason why I can't use these drinks. When he puked, he had the puking flu that Andre had that came in with Tisha's kids, because her kids were already sick when they got here. Both of them, I don't know. She took them home. Andre was puking. 2 days later, I phoned up Tisha, said, and she said, yeah, well, my kids have been puking. Well, we know where it came from. Okay, because Alea May goes to school and she's picking it up at school because they're always fucking sick. All right, but Amari never gets sick, and I never get sick. And it was funny, I just said to Tisha 2 days ago before this all happened, if you notice, Amari and I, we never get sick. Well, okay, so he puked. All right. We weren't, I said before in my last video, I wasn't sure if it was because he was constipated and hadn't pooed for 3 fucking weeks, and he had a big hard ball in there, and I fed him and the food had no place to go, so it upchucked, or if maybe he picked up a virus, which would be unusual because Amari hasn't been sick for over a year, right? In terms of anything outside of maybe one day he had a mild, less than 24-hour cold. He wouldn't even classify it as a cold. All right. Before I continue, you also want to give them a drink in between feeding them, because giving them a little drink of something in between feeding them helps the digestive system, the stomach, to start even further digesting food. So before I finish giving him what's there, which isn't very much left, okay, because we're doing the smaller meals at this point, we're going to give you some milk. There you go. So, right? Okay, so, oh, I don't, you see, I should have just kept talking on about what I was talking about, because now I forgot. I don't even remember now. People, something about Tisha and the kids being sick, and so he puked, right? And then when the second puke came, oh yeah, the poo part. The second puke came after an hour and a half of the first main puke, to which I wasn't sure whether it was the flu or not. But he hollered out, "Wah!" really loud, something completely, you know what that was? I know exactly what that was, people, because I've been there and done that when he was younger, like a baby, and he was constipated, and I'd have to take him to the hospital because he was on formula, right? Remember in those days when he was on formula, right? And I had to take him to the hospital, and they gave him a freaking liquid emina, and then his body would start to heave, whoosh, as this emina was flushing out the poo that would come out like this long, from an infant, like 7 fucking inches long, thick like this, and it would come out so violently that he'd holler out. Well, that's the same shit that was going on without me even realizing what was going on until after it was all said and done, and I was having to deal with pieces of poo here, chunks of poo there. Big ass Andre said he had one long big ass freaking poo in a diaper. He pooed at the freaking hospital with big chunks of poo, right? Right? That's what that bacteria did. It flushed it all out. But when it first started, and when he was in the ambulance, when he was in the ambulance, and he was, that was his gut. That was his gut contracting and pushing it out as if, that's what Andre can't understand, how he can holler for such a long duration and not breathe. That's what was happening. His body was heaving it out, and because it was so lodged and so stuck in there so freaking hard, it hurt him to the point where he hollered out as if he had an emina, that like a liquid kind, right? Well, you know, the warm ones with the water and all that shit, where his body just whoosh, and that's what made him holler out, people. And that's what he was doing in the ambulance. That's why when I got to the hospital and I started changing him, there was big clunks of that smelly fucking god-awful poo in those shorts. It came out so thick and fast, it came out of the diaper from around his legs and ended up in the rubber pant itself. That's a lot of force, okay? And I contribute that to those drinks. And you can't tell me, if that's the case, if that's how clogged up it makes him, you can't tell me that it hasn't destroyed his gut flora. Because it has. Can I ever repair it? I don't know. I'm going to try. So, you seen what I did? I gave him something to drink to further encourage digestion. Now the next meal is going to be, I'm going to go look for the chicken or turkey. I don't care, one or the other. That's in my freezer. And I'm going to give him some. I want to give him a lot, but I can't because he's got a little gut and I have to walk lightly with it. So I'll give him, I don't know, we'll see. I'll give him a fair amount because I'm going to walk the middle line, I think, on this one because I'm hearing two different messages, reading two different things. I have to get back on that calorie count. It's going to be extremely hard to do that with 5 to 7 small meals a day, at least at this point. You know, because it's not like I have to be selective as to what foods I give him, which I'm still working on, as I'm now kind of removing certain kinds of fats, just in case maybe he's lactose intolerant or he can't digest high fatty foods very easy for whatever reason because of what I just talked about. Okay? So I'm going to do some larger meals, which the next meal that he's going to have is going to be a larger meal. So he's getting chicken or turkey, ground up, more than likely with the rest of that bone broth. I opened it yesterday. This is his second meal with it. First meal, he had 2 servings with the bone broth, which was basically just sweet potato and bone broth. I loved it so much, I went and I got him another 2 more tablespoons of sweet potato and a whole bunch of bone broth. I actually gave him extra bone broth with it, right? Today, you can see what he's got here, right? An egg with sweet potato with some bone broth. And there's enough bone broth left, just enough left for the chicken and asparagus. I bought the asparagus. We've got the asparagus. So he's getting fresh asparagus, ground up chicken or turkey with a whole lot of bone broth. And that's but I'm going to give him a larger portion because I want him to eat more meat. But as I give him that meat, in this case chicken or turkey, he's getting the asparagus for the fiber and the nutrients and the fact that it's easy to digest, with the bone broth to give it that consistency, texture that he needs in order to have it pureed. Not only does it make it tasty, but it's extremely nutritional and beneficial for the collagen that he's lost all these years due to those drinks because he wouldn't eat. And that's just a fact. I'm not out of the woods with the feeding team because, or whatever team I'm going to come into contact with, because they'll be like, well, whatever you're doing isn't working, clearly. And I'll be like, yeah, but whatever you were telling me to do clearly wasn't working, and left me the end product of what I'm trying to fucking correct here. Not that I'm doing a very good job at it at this point, because I'm having to do it all by myself without your assistance, because you're telling me to give him cow's milk over too much, you know. Forget about vitamin C, just pump him up with a whole bunch of fucking cow's milk, sour cream, whipping cream, cottage cheese, you know, that kind of stuff, when in fact maybe we're dealing with a child that could be somewhat lactose intolerant. Marcane was not lactose intolerant until he was over the age of 12. I mean, that can come at any time. So, you know, maybe it's a form of that, I don't know, right? Yeah, we know you're strong. For as skinny as you are, you're strong. Yeah. You should try and control him when he's mad and he wants to bite his hand. And you have to pull his hand away from him because he gets mad. He grabbed my hand and tried to bite my hand. Can you believe that? Then I'm fighting with him. Trust me, for as skinny as he is, he's freaking strong. So the next meal will be a bigger meal. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just basically writing down what I'm feeding him in a kind of a rough kind of way, right? As I'm thinking and reading and, you know, and organizing and cleaning and planning and, you know, deciding, making decisions and, you know, figuring out what doctor, I have a family doctor now, by the way, people. I've been so busy and stressed out, I haven't been able to say it, right? I haven't thought about it. But yes, I finally got a new family doctor. I don't know, we'll just see how that goes. But, you know, at some point I'm either going to go see the pediatrician, you know, go see the family doctor, and then, you know, discuss what I've been doing, right? And show them the types of foods that I'm feeding him, why I'm feeding it to him in terms of the type of food, how I'm feeding it to him, like my reasoning around it, right? And how I want to build on it, like where I plan to go with it, right? I mean, if you expect me to give him 2,500 calories a day, that's a lot of food for a little kid that has a stomach maybe about the size of that. And don't forget, Amari has a really tiny waist. Shimei had a tiny waist. Oh my God. Amari's is so freaking tiny, right? And, you know, like, that could be playing a role with shit too, right? And because he doesn't necessarily exercise like we do, and you know, I said to Andre, we got to get him on it. Like, we need to sit an hour a day. See, he's done. An hour a day, we need to lay him down on the floor and move his legs around and do this and do that. He won't necessarily like it because he doesn't always like to be touched. And, you know, do those scissor exercises or something. I don't know. Do something with him. Give him body massage. I don't know. That's it, buddy boy. That's all you're getting for now. And your milk, whatever's left over. And to help with the, you know, the movement, right? Because sitting, the way his body is, it curls, right? You know what I mean? He doesn't sit like we do. He goes like this. You know, I mean, pinched nerves or something going on. There's all kinds of issues going on. No, don't be grabbing. Stop it, Amari. Okay? And your arms are getting bigger. Stop it. Shut up. Oh, I'm still getting some. I'll get every last little bit. Hopefully you won't gag on this part. Hopefully you won't gag on this part because that's the end on the side of the frying pan. Because I gave it to him Ward. So we're just going to give it to you in little bites just in case there's a chunk there because it got a little solid on the side of the frying pan. And we don't want you choking on it. And, you know, and I was going to ask him just to work with me. You know, just help me build on it, right? Like, and don't send me to the feeding team because, you know, they're not giving me they're not telling me anything that they're not helping me. They're making it worse. They put pressure on me. You know, they just, it's stupid, man. They set me up for fucking failure. Not to mention him. Maybe those drinks work fine for some kids, but not for Amari. No. So the next meal is going to be chicken, asparagus, the rest of the bone broth, more than likely, which means I pull out another jar tomorrow. So that's 1 jar a day so far. Yeah. And it's not going to hurt him. If anything, it's going to be good for him, right? And he's tolerating it really good so far. And I'll know in a week of giving it to him every day, at least once, if not twice. Today he'll get it. Yesterday he got it one. Well, he got 2 servings with 1 sitting of that bone broth, right? Today he got just now, and he's going to get the rest tonight. So he'll get a fair amount, right? A fair amount. At least a cup between the 2 servings today, which is good. Right? And then tomorrow I'll go get another jar, and I'll just keep doing that every day for the next month. Yep. And I'm using that bone broth to build in his meals. The bone broth is the center of the meal.
You add in between whatever you're going to add. But it has to be homemade bone broth. It can't be that store-bought stuff. That's not the same stuff. Okay, so don't fool yourself. If you're thinking, oh, bone broth, I have the same kind of problem as Judy, or I know somebody so-and-so, well, if you're going to recommend bone broth, you better go tell the person that's going to be giving their loved one bone broth to go buy a freaking pressure canner and some jars and a nice pot for themselves and make their own, because that's the only one that's really going to do the job, honestly. I do believe that from the bottom of my heart. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste my time with it. Nope. Don't waste your time, don't waste your money buying that crap, because it's not worth it. It's not the same kind of stuff. So you get chicken or turkey, ground up, double portion. I'm gonna up the ante with the next meal, because we have to now start working on those calories. But we can't rely on too much fat as we build in these calories, which makes it even harder for me. You get that, right? You understand what I'm saying here. 2,500 calories, good luck, as if I wasn't struggling before when I was using cream and this and that and butter and, you know. You know, what about coconut butter? I don't know, people. And Nana doesn't know what to do. Yes, are you happy now? Did that feel good? Did you drink all that milk? And I'm only giving you a little bit because I don't want your medicine to come up. Now, we just want to make sure everything stays where it belongs. Okay, he's done. It was only half. Normally, I'd give him a full bottle, like a double the size, like an 8-ounce, right? Normally, that's what he would normally get. But because of we're coming out of this flu and he still kind of smells sick, I can smell it. Kids, like I said, they have a certain kind of smell when they're sick. He only got a little bit. Prior to that, he had his Pedialyte there. So he's happy. He's good. He's looking good. He's being frisky. And because because I want to end this video, and maybe I'll pick up again when I do the chicken with the asparagus. Walk you through it one more time, because I'll tell you something. I had 5 kids. I thought I escaped this. When you get pregnant, you always wonder if your baby's going to be healthy, right? I mean, it's bad enough you might miscarriage, right? Okay, I lost 3 pregnancies, had 5 live births. All right. So, while you're pregnant, though, you know, you wonder if you're going to have a baby with any kind of birth defects, genetic defects like Down syndrome or something like that, or maybe they'll come out born stillborn, and then of course there's always the looming cerebral palsy for whatever reason, which usually, as of until lately, happens at the time of birth. But because our medical system doesn't like to take responsibility for botched birthing processes, you know, they're always flipping it on the parents these days for the numbers of children being born with cerebral palsy, where I do believe it was through negligence on the healthcare system's part when it came to Shimei with those 5 days. Okay, besides that point, they all came out normal, whatever, okay? None of them had cerebral palsy, none of that crap. And I thought I escaped that. I don't want to call it a burden, maybe the responsibility. I escaped that responsibility knowing that while I was pregnant, that responsibility may have came to me, because there are no guarantees as to how children are going to come out when they're born. You take your chances, right? And if one came out with Down syndrome, I would have looked after that child, loved that child as much as I loved all of my kids. So I kind of had a sigh of relief that I didn't have to struggle with that part of life with a disabled child. I thought God had blessed me and saved me that responsibility, to which many people would see it as a burden, because it becomes arduous and cumbersome and daunting and tiring, right? To stay with the routine of
whatever it is you're doing while you're looking after the disabled child. Okay. And then along came Amari. How old was I? 57 years old? 58 years old? Lose the mother of the child? And I'm left with the child myself with some fucking lunatic stalking me, making threats to have somebody come and kill me so they could get Amari? And posting it on freaking YouTube yet to boot? Yeah, okay. And then dropping the ball like a fucking hot potato once they realized that he was disabled and it wasn't going to be all cute and cuddly without the responsibility of the burden of looking after a disabled child. It was just easier to blame me for, you don't want me to see Amari. Oh yeah, no, maybe if you would have been nicer fucking people and actually fucking helpful, things would have been different. But it wasn't like that. No, you admitted on fucking line that Cheeseburger and whoever and you were out there in the back plotting and scheming how to freaking kill me so you could get Amari. And then when you did get him, you dropped him like a hot potato in the end anyway, so what the hell? Well, I didn't drop the potato. I got my little bag of potatoes right here. So what I'm saying is, don't underestimate. Stop biting your hand, man. Don't underestimate that you're getting off scot-free in life. The stork could bring a little disabled child to you at any moment and blindside you and leave you with a choice. A choice. If you choose to walk away, like many people do, for different reasons with different fucking excuses, and there's a whole lot of excuses in there, so be it. But if you choose to take on the responsibility, quote unquote burden, do the best that you can, well, I guess you'll survive the storm. But don't ever take it for granted that it won't ever happen to you, and that's the point. Don't ever take it fucking for granted, because I don't want to say I took it for granted. All I know is that after I didn't want any more kids and I just said, no more sex, I'm done. Don't touch me, don't come near me. I'm fed up with it. I'm tired of being pregnant. I'm tired of popping out babies and looking after them by myself, putting up with bullshit men and bullshit this and bullshit that. Right? And I'm like, thank God I never had a disabled child, because raising 5 was hard enough as it was. The older they got, the meltier they got, and everything else going on in town with them. Kids in general, even fucking adult kids in general. I'm still not out of the woods with my kids, and they're adults, okay? You know that. You watch my videos if you've been around long enough. You just don't ever take it for granted. Don't ever think you're fucking completely safe. Unless, of course, you turn your back and you walk away from them when they come to you. So, I'm showing you on the fly how to deal with the situation as the years accumulate. Because they don't come with a manual. And it's not easy. And you're always under that microscope. And you're always under scrutiny. And somebody's always got something to say, like, as if they could do a fucking better job, even though they wouldn't know where to begin if the child landed in their lap and they had to start from day one and then go through the next umpteen years with the same old freaking rigmarole to get the same old criticism or this or that or whatever people do just to make themselves feel better about themselves, as if they fucking know. And yet, a lot of those people that sit there and they wouldn't even take Amari for a month, never mind for a week. Oh, they take him for a day or two, maybe, but try it looking after him for a fucking month. And while that happens, let him have a good shit party on you, and then you deal with it. Let him have a fucking seizure on you, and you fucking deal with it. You let people criticize you because you didn't do this, and the way they told you to do it, even though what they're telling you could very well be hurting him without you even realizing that they're giving you ideas. Well, they're not even ideas. They tell you to fucking do it. I had no choice but to give him those drinks, people. Because if I wouldn't have gave him those drinks, that would have been it. It would have been on. And I've come full circle I gave those drinks the benefit of the doubt. I gave those people the benefit of the doubt. Whatever advice that they gave me didn't fucking work. Just like with those stupid leg braces. To put on these little leg braces. What does Amari do? He wings his foot over. He hits his freaking tibia. He breaks his fucking tibia. We don't know. Finally, we take him to the hospital. Find out that he broke his fucking tibia. Why? It was because of those ankle bracelets. And now his leg is like this. Ever since he broke his tibia, it's got worse. But it's okay. We love Amari for Amari. He's a little gimped up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't stop him from moving around. He's really not in any pain, right? You know what I'm saying? I know the doctor's going to want to cut this thing underneath the knee. I'm going to tell him no. Because Tammy, I spoke to your friend two, 3 years ago, whatever. She told me, don't do it. Because the doctor cut underneath you got the knee, and then underneath that thing, tighten, eh? So it's really taut in there. They always want to cut. Well, they did that for Tammy's friend on her son. And you know what? He can't move his legs, people. They're stiff like this. And she regrets it. And he's 38 years old. I said, oh, I don't think so. No, we're not cutting. So it's like this. But it all started because of breaking the tibia with their ankle bracelets. Yeah. No different than those stupid drinks. Hip doctor. Oh, well, if you don't do the surgery that I recommend, well, it's just a matter of time before we bring him in, and I'll have to cut the bone and throw it in the garbage. Oh, fuck, no. Don't talk to me about throwing fucking bones in garbage, motherfucker. I know exactly what you guys do with bones. I'm documenting it. I already took my government to court for what they done to my daughter's teeth and her structure with the bones. You sold that fucking bone to the bone graft department. Shut up. If that's the best you can do, you don't want to give him hip replacement? Well, then what does that say about the BC healthcare system? Don't sign him up to some global fucking program and expect me to just do it because you told me to, even though there's a 30% chance there's going to be a whole bunch of fucking complications. With one of those complications resulting in death. So, huh? Oh, I'm talking about the hip surgery. I don't want what he was offering. I want hip replacement. That's what I want. But we don't do that in BC. Well, you better find a fucking doctor that does and have him fly in. I guess Dr. Malprairie is going to get a new friend. Learn a new skill. Because it is possible. It can be done. But they don't want to because they got him hooked up to some fucking global study that they brought in 2015, propped up in 2016 with their fucking infusion of taxpayers' dollars so they could prop up the freaking children's hospital with their fucking team this, team to take all these kids that are born like him and put them all in one spot and do this stuff, this study. Yeah. And then try and hide it from you. And make it sound like it's whatever. And then when you don't agree, they scare you. Well, you do realize if you don't do it my way, I won't have no choice but to cut the bone and take that little piece of bone and throw it in the garbage. Well, before you fucking cut it, you better go figure out how you're going to do a hip replacement on him. If one hip goes, you do the replacement on the one side. That's it. That's all you do. Right? You're supposed to be a doctor. That's possible. I don't want him like this for 8 months, 9 months to a year. People sitting like this. How the hell am I going to get him to have a poop? Okay? What if he starts puking? How am I going to pick him up and prevent him from choking? As they're telling me to feed him these drinks because he's not gaining any weight because he's so fucking miserable. This is what I mean. You have a baby, you don't, and find out yourself with a disabled child, you think you got away from that problem. Your kids grow up, you think you got away from that problem, and then along comes a little grandchild. What you gonna do, turn your back? Well, actually, some people do that because they can't cope with the stress. I didn't turn my back. Stop biting your hand! Why you do that, I don't know. Too bad.
He's been biting his hand. He gets mad. You heard him. And then he bites his hand and he doesn't realize that it's the bite that's hurting his hand. And then when you give him shit for it, he doesn't like that either. Well, don't bite your hand. You're a smart boy. I know you understand me. Yeah, you go ahead and look at me. Keep your hands away from your mouth. I mean it. You're fine. Where's Harry the bear? Where did Harry go? Where's Harry? Can you say Harry? Where's Harry? Anyway, we know what his next meal is. It's going to be double the amount because he has a good appetite on him, right? So I am going to, I'm going to try and give him a bit more food so his tummy feels more satisfied with fullness, right? And we're going to use meat. And you're tired. You've been dealing with puke and poop and just, right? Your house is a mess. You haven't been eating right. You're far behind on things. And you got to listen to that nail on the chalkboard because that's what that is. That's whining. He's whining, right? Because he gets pampered when he's like in this situation. I hold him and, and so he getting like spoiled. I can't find Harry. Where's Harry? Where's Harry? There he is! There's Harry! We got Harry! Harry the bear! Here he is! Here's Harry! Here's your new friend! Oh, Harry! Yeah, see, Harry! Harry! You like Harry, I know you do. Harry loves you. Yes, he does. Harry loves you, Maury. He's his new friend. Harry loves Maury. He's his new friend. Harry is a new friend to Maury. He says, Maury, you are my new friend. Oh. And then every now and then he just gets into these little crying spurts. No biggie. Okay, now I know I'm going away now. As soon as I'm gone, you'll shut up. I know you. You're just looking for attention. Now you just want attention. Yeah. How old am I? 62? Soon to be 63?